This week on SV Lynx. Last week we finished up the steps on both of the sugar scoops and reinforced the cabin top for the mainsail track. That allows us to get on to some new work this week.
Right, we're going to get underneath of that mainsail track and reinforcement and get started there. And we've got a lot of work to get down to in the hulls. So we're going to show you exactly what we accomplished right now. It's a new week, and we're starting off with a little bit different job here. Now that we've got the basalt on top of the roof up there, we've got some painting stuff to do there. We also have some work to do down below here. And so, as you can see, we put through some of the bolts. The mainsail track is up there. It's not permanent, but it's up there holding these bolts in the right place. And Brian's down right now drilling out our G10 plate that's going to go underneath it here. We needed the holes a little bit wider. We'd already pre-drilled it, but we decided that we wanted just a little bit wider so that these bolts have a little bit of wiggle room to match up to the stainless steel bar that's going to go. And so we're going to be taking those G10 strips and putting them up here, gluing them on with epoxy, and 2 strips of Western red cedar on either side of those eventually, and we're not going to probably do that today. Today we'll just get the G10 glued up. But before we can glue up the G10, there's some sanding here and down there that we have to do. All these have to get sanded, but to work on this, we've got to get this part sanded. So I'm going to start with that right now and get that sanded up. Once that's done, we can glue this G10 track in. We've already tabbed the inside of our new steps, but we've got to put tabs on the corners here. These are the ones you're going to walk on a lot, so it really needs to be durable. So we're going to put a double tab over all these exterior corners right now. Put a fairly thick cove back here, the back side of this step here, so that way the curve will match the front side fairly well. Anyway, off we go. Let's do this over here first. Okay, all 4 of our steps are all tabbed on the inside and outside now, so they'll be ready to install when the moment comes. What we're doing this morning is we're getting this stainless steel bar in here with the piece of G10 between it and the rooftop here. And Brian's up on the ceiling right now tightening up bolts and snugging this up. And we've got a little bit of epoxy in here to glue that G10 up. Once that's all set up, we're going to put the wood pieces on and then we'll remove the bar. All right. If you want, we're done with this for the moment. If you want to cover all that roof back up again.
You okay? Need a hand? No. Good job, Brian. Good job.
We're in the forward cabin on the starboard side. And these are where the water tanks come through. And we cut these out, but we never cored and filled these. So I'm going to take care of that right now. While I've been working on this, Brian's working on the wall that goes between the gray water tank and black water tank there and the daggerboard casing. So we have to get a wall in there so we can seal those up. And so he's busy cutting that piece in. And we have had his brother Dale here today helping as well. And so they're working on that while I'm over here sanding away. Okay, job finished. Of course, this is only the starboard side. I gotta go do the port. Yesterday, Brian and Dale and I were working in the starboard side of the hull, and this is the sole piece that goes in there. And we took all the measurements for all the various hatches that we have to cut into this. So all these little black lines here where we have to cut, and that's a little slot for the dagger board over there. The only hatch left that we didn't mark is the one that's over here, but that one is really reliant upon where the slanted wall is, so we're going to cut that one later. But these ones were fairly clear, so we're going to go ahead and cut these out today, and we'll save these pieces that we cut out because they'll become the actual hatches, and then we'll put supports underneath, fill the edges and such, and start getting these ready. We're waiting on a part for the plumbing in the hull, so we can't quite progress that yet, but that should be here in a day or so, and then we'll get back to that. So we might as well get this ready because we're getting closer and closer to being able to glue this down. Now there's some things in between there, not just the plumbing, but once the plumbing's in, we have to put the daggerboard casing in before this gets glued down, but it's all in sequence, so we'll get to it. Okay, we're going to glue up the first two of our wood pyramid here. We're building a pyramid on top of this metal. And so these are the first, and we'll get them down. So this is our first layer. And what we're going to be doing here is take this metal piece off once this is set up. And then we're going to glass across this whole thing. Then we'll put the metal piece back on again, put 2 more pieces of wood on either side of it, a capping piece of wood on top of it, glass over the top of that, and then another piece of wood, another glass layer. So lots of layers of glass, lots of layers of wood.
With the first layer of the mainsail track, Western Red Cedar, glued on, we decided now we're going to go back down and work on the sole, and we're going to cut out these various hatches into the top here that are going to be accessed along the hallway.
Now we're coring out all of the edges everywhere so we can fill these in, strengthen them up. This morning we're getting started with all these hatches that are for the port and starboard side hallways in the hull. And we cored them out yesterday, as we showed you, everywhere, but now it's time to get a thick and epoxy edge on these. These need to have a good hard edge on them so that something to land on where they mount. We don't want them crushing down. So, off we go. While Brian's mixing up the next batch of epoxy, we'll start getting the mainsail track back up again. We only put it down with a certain number of bolts in it because we knew we were going to be taking it back up again. That was just to hold the first layer in place down there with the metal bar, but now we need a glass down there, so this has to be out of the way, at least the bolts do. And we need to remove the whole sail track anyway because we have to sand and paint this area. So this does 2 things for us. He's mixing more epoxy, so I'm back here. We're gonna take the rest off, well, the last 2. We've got to have something underneath or the bar's gonna fall. Well, we're getting towards the end of all these. It's been a lot of mixes. We didn't show them all. It's been a lot, but we're not done. Because we're going to keep right on mixing. All right, I got something downstairs holding this up. Oh, the bar below. And Brian's mixing more epoxy, so time to take out the final two. All right, cover this back up now until we get to sanding. So this is a very epoxy day. We're filling all of these lids, and we're going to fill all the holes from that sole. We're going to create all of the, or at least some of the small flat pieces that go underneath to hold the hatches when they set in there. And we're going to glass the bottom of the mainsail track support that we've put in there so far. So that's a lot of epoxy mixing. And this might be the most epoxy we've had to mix since we put the sole on top of the bridge deck. Of course, we had 15 people mixing all at once on that day. And we only got Brian mixing today, so a little slower, but it's much cooler, so it's all good. But Wednesday was very warm, 88 degrees Fahrenheit, or that in Celsius. So we couldn't do epoxy in the afternoon. We did some in the morning. But it's about 10 degrees cooler today, so it's going to be around 78, or again, that in Celsius. So we can get a lot of epoxy work done. So on Wednesday, we just prepped all of this stuff in the afternoon when it was warm so that we could go to town on this today, which is what we've been doing. All right, so we're going to take this metal bar down. Going to be difficult here, unless it'll come out without taking this off. Yeah, it will. All right, you ready? This is going to fall, but could be worse. I caught it. Nice. Okay. Now, I got to get the screws out of here. This isn't doing much anymore. That's because this is stiff enough now that it's not sagging over here. Be nice to get the real posts in soon. And that's pretty soon. Our next step up today is to glass over the top of all this, which is why I'm starting to clean this up. There's some butyl tape residue on there, and then we'll clean it. And then probably resin seal this and then glass over the top of it. The other side that's against here is already resin sealed. Okay. I think Brian's probably got epoxy about ready again downstairs, so back I go. We're on to get on the holes. Alright, back to the roof for sanding. Because while Brian mixes over here, I go up and sand. Time to get sanding on this roof.
need to get a stair stepper at the gym. Just keep going up and down, putting epoxy on to up here sand. Epoxy time! So we've got all of these done everywhere there, and of course all of the hatches over here. And while we've been doing that, I've been going back and forth up here. We've got this ready to be worked on here. And of course, what's really going to hold us up is the paint. And I'm over here sanding away at the paint. So if we can get this finished sanding up here, we could paint this today with our primer coat. That would get us ahead of things, and maybe by Monday we'd be ready to put this track down permanently, or Tuesday after the paint sets up. We're getting ready to put the first layer of glass on here. It's actually going to be 3 layers, 3 strips, and 2 on the outside and 1 that overlaps the center of both of them. It's a little more than the plans call for, but that's okay. We make it a little stronger. Then after that's set up, then the next thing is the next layer of wood and the metal bar go on, and then we're going to put some more layers of fiberglass strips on that. And then we put the final board on, a cap, and then we put 3 layers of carbon fiber plus another layer of 600-gram cloth over the whole thing. So in the end you end up with so maybe 7 layers of cloth and 4 layers of carbon fiber on this. And the carbon fiber and the cloth all go beyond the ends and out wide on the sides. So it's a lot of support there. Glass on there. We'll let this set up and pull it off tomorrow and get to the next phase.
We'll start out this morning by pulling the peel ply from yesterday. All right, not much further we can go on these today. The only thing we're going to do is to re-drill out the holes from above. But we have a small problem coming up here. Today's Saturday, we don't work Sundays. I can't paint anything today because we have to paint the next coat within 24 hours. So that means we can't paint till Monday, but then it's going to rain Tuesday night. And if we paint on Monday and then try to paint on Tuesday,
the paint won't be set up before the rain, so we can't paint on Monday or Tuesday. So it looks like we're going to have to wait till next Wednesday to start putting paint up on the roof, because then we get a 4-day stint there of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, where I could paint each day and get this finished up there where we can get the track down on by next Saturday. Because then there's a bigger rainstorm coming after that. Still pretty far out for the weather report to be right, but that's what they're predicting right now. So today, the only reason we're going to drill these holes out is in case any water does get to them. We'll tape them up there, but if any water gets to the holes, it'll just drain right on out, and there's no wood involved here. This is just epoxy and G10 that it would just drain out of, so no big deal if a little water got in there at this point. Once we seal this up later, it would be a big deal, but right now it would just drain through. Brian's over here cleaning up our hatch opening. We're just grinding them a little flatter here. And hi Jeff. Jeff and I are working on some more smaller inspection ports that go on this side. This one here is for a gray water. This is also a gray water. We tried to make it a little larger there. This is where the shower drain is also going to be. This is just an inspection port. We need that because there's a bulkhead here, and we will be able to get into the other side of this bulkhead if we need to clean this out. And then over here is a similar situation. This is a black water tank, and there's a web piece that goes here and a web piece that goes here. And from this inspection port, we've got to be able to get into this side of it, the center, and this side of it. So that's why this one's so long. So we're going to cut those out now, and then we've already cored this for the daggerboard casing. We'll have to fill that in all 3 of these. I got 3 things going on here. Brian's cleaning up these. Jeff's routing out our new inspection ports, and I'm going to take off the the actual ash portion of them. Take that out.
No, this one is, oh yes, that's right.
We've got our little hatches all cored out here and such, because our once solid sole here is now Swiss cheese. And you know, this is our big diesel tank area and plumbing area, diesel tank area, storage area, black water, gray water, and daggerboard. So just a lot of things that are underneath the sole that we have to have access to. So that's what all of this is about. And Jeff's been over here coring this set of these out as well. So right now Brian's mixing epoxy, and we're going to start filling all of these new holes here, the small ones and the daggerboard casing ones, and of course these new lids as well. So let me help you flip that over. For our last job of the day, we're trying to get all of these openings and hatch pieces with thickened epoxy filled everywhere, and then we'll just have to sand and clean them up Monday, and And the next phase will be start putting the supports in to hold the hatches from falling through. All right, so we've got everything filled on both sides, starboard and port. So we'll call that a day. In fact, we'll call that a week. The next thing up is get to painting and get that top track back in place up there. So and we'll also get back to more plumbing work next week, I hope, and maybe some work on the bearings.
We got the first layer of Western Red Cedar and G10 under the cabin top for the mainsail track.
Yeah, and there's a couple more layers to go still, of course, and we'll be getting to those soon. But first we got to wait for the upcoming rains to get over with. But we also got a lot of work done on cutting hatches into both the soles on the starboard and port side, as you saw. So we've made lots of good progress there. But we've got some new stuff planned for this coming week. We'll see how much of it we get to, depending on how much rain gets in our way. But hopefully we'll get a lot of that done. So thank you so much for stopping by and watching and spending some time with us.
Yes, we appreciate you, and we appreciate our patrons listed here. We couldn't do this project without you. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click on the bell icon to be notified of our next video.
And in our next video, we'll figure out some new stuff. I think we might get to putting the salt cloth onto the rudders. If it's raining, I can do that in the garage. If not, we've got more work down in the sole area of the hulls. So lots of work still to go there. We'll see you next week for that.
Bye.